Alrighty, welcome everyone to System 8, which is the digestive system. In this system, we're going to discuss the main 3 points right here, which is the structure of the digestive system. From the moment we take in the food to the moment we dispose of it. We're going to describe the physical process of digestion. What is digestion? What happens with digestion? And we're going to describe the changes that occur in each portion of the alimentary canal. Alimentary canal is the canal or the tube, let's say, that starts in the mouth and ends in the anus. So the whole process from the mouth to the esophagus, going down to the stomach, to the small intestine, large intestine, and out. Okay, so the main function right here is digestion, meaning we're going to take the food down as solid bites, and it's going to be broken down into mushy, soft material that the body can absorb. Okay? The digestion happens by adding those glands, those secretions that help the body break down the food into something more soluble. Absorption is the action of pulling the nutrients into the cell or to the body. Okay, now the function is to digest and absorb and convert food into substances capable of being used by the cell and for nourishment. Now, the two main primary components here is the alimentary canal and the accessory digestive organ. So the canal, think of it as the freeway, okay? And then the accessory digestive organs are the little shops that are along the way from the beginning to the end of the race. Or think of a car race and you have all these stations of water and stations of adjusting the tires and all that kind of stuff. So think of it that way. So the alimentary canal starts with the oral cavity, your mouth, your throat, your pharynx, your esophagus, down to the stomach, small intestine, and of course the large intestine. So the structure of it, so let's kind of show you the picture first so you can see. So the oral cavity is your mouth, and as the food gets chewed mechanically by your teeth and your tongue, you have these glands all around the mouth, the submandibular one underneath the jaw, the subinguinal gland, and the parotoid gland. So you just can see that there's glands everywhere that assist in this process of initially eating the food and mechanically breaking it down. Then we're going down the esophagus till we reach the stomach. Okay? And from the stomach, we're going to pass down the small intestine. And like you heard in the video, the small intestine is broken down to 3 parts. The first part is the duodenum. So the duodenum is in the beginning of the small intestine, just right after the, what do you call that? The stomach. It rides all the way to the small intestine, get then to the cecum, where this region is where the small intestine and the large intestine come together. And we go up the ascending colon. So that's going to be on your right. Transverse colon, which goes from the right to the left. And then you have your ascending colon going down to the sigmoid colon, the last pouch right here before the rectum. So that's all considered alimentary canal. Okay, so there's a physical and there's chemical digestion that happens. But before, did I mention what the accessory digestive organ are? No. So the alimentary is, of course, what I mentioned, the tube that goes from the mouth all the way to the anus. And then the accessory glands are going to be your teeth, the tongue, the glands. Let's make sure that you know the pancreas, the liver, and the gallbladder. So that between these and those, you have the full digestive system in place, okay? Okay, so digestion, we have physical. That means like when we talk about massage, we have mechanical mechanical pressure or mechanical manipulation. That means with the hands, something we kind of do with hands. This is the same thing as physicals like the teeth, the tongue, the grinding, the breaking down. And the involuntary muscle propels the food through the alimentary canal. Okay. And the chemical agent here is going to be the enzymes that are going to be secreted from your stomach. So there are a variety of these juices to break down complex substances to simpler nutrient molecules and can be absorbed into the bloodstream through cell membrane. All right. So at the mouth, we prepare the food to enter the mouth, like I said. Chewing or mastication is another word for it, is what we mix together the secretions of the glands with the chewing of the teeth and mixing with the tongue. And that will form, so that bite of food that mixed with the saliva or the digestive enzymes and the breakdown of it is called a bolus. So bolus is it's a chunk of food that's been chewed and mixed with enzymes. And these enzymes begin digesting the carbohydrates in the mouth. So the action of the teeth, tongue, saliva together makes a soft ball called bolus. So remember that one of the questions they asked. And then the involuntary, alimentary canal pushes the food down the esophagus. Okay, so let's take a look into the structure of the alimentary canal. In this case, the tubes that the food runs through. So they tend to have 3 layers here, okay? So let's start from outside in or inside out. Let's start inside out and see if that makes it easy. And then I'll go back again. Lumen is the hollow space of a vessel or any canal, any round thing in the body. The lumen is a hole or in a tube. Now, the alimentary canal is involuntary, but it's a structure that tends to have this motion called peristalsis, which pushes the food down along the digestive tract. And peristalsis, I'll show you. So when you saw these little movements that's happening, I'll show it to you again, of the food going down the intestine, down the esophagus. This is called peristalsis. It's involuntary movement of skeletal muscles in the alimentary canal. So we start with the lumen, which is the hollow space the food is going to run to. You're going to notice there's 3 mucous membranes here, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So the function of the mucous membrane, the 3 that I showed you, it's made up of 3 types of tissue. So made of epithelial tissue. Remember, epithelial tissue is soft tissue, a smooth tissue that we have. So we have smooth tissue, we have skeletal tissue, right? Connective tissue, nerve tissue, all these kind of things. So the epithelial is like the skin. It doesn't have connective tissue in it like muscle. Okay, it's just like individual cells or row of cells. So it's not connective tissue or muscular. So it's smooth tissue. Think of it that way. And then we have the what do you call it? I don't know if you can see it here, maybe not. But the idea is we have 3 layers, and we have also receptors. These are receptors where the lumen or the alimentary canal can sense there's something going down in there. So the receptor, they're sensory organs, just like we have in the muscle. Okay, so let's go back again. Hopefully you understand. So it's made of epithelial tissue, part of it. A part of also the canal, you're going to see connective tissue, which helps in the movement of the canal. And there's all sorts of glands to align the small intestine. Also, what you can find also there, just like in the skin, you're going to find also blood vessels to bring in the nutrition. You're going to find also there is lymphatic vessels or lacteals that's going to pull out the excess fluid, just like any other part of the body. And it's also going to bring in nutrients, and it's also going to take away waste from that area. So that is the structure of the canal. There's smooth tissue, there is connective tissue, muscular tissue, and there's blood vessels and nerves going there, okay? So what happens in the stomach when food enters the stomach? So food gets churned. That's a word, churned, like turning the food. Yeah. So food enter the cardiac sphincter, churned into chyme. So in the stomach, the food with the hyaluronic acid and gastric juices is gonna further break down the food and churn it. Okay. Then after that, it's gonna pass through the duodenum, which is the beginning of the small intestine, from the pyloric sphincter. So sphincter, like all sphincters we have in the body, it's like a stopper. Okay, so it's like a muscle that kind of closes in, makes a hole to help control the content from the other side, and it can open up to have things pass through. So if you notice in the stomach, there's a sphincter on top of the stomach, and at the end of the stomach, there's a sphincter as well, okay? So the duodenum is the beginning of your small intestine. So in the heart, another way I can think of it to explain sphincter for you is like, you know, in the heart, when you have the ventricle and the atrium, and there's a one-way valve where it helps control the flow of the blood in one direction. So it has the same kind of idea. Now let's talk about the small intestine. There's 3 sections of the small intestine. You have the duodenum. It's a small part, just like after the stomach. Then the jejunum, it's the longest part, and the ileum, or something like that. It is at the end of the small intestine, closer to the large intestine. Now, the small intestines have tons of digestive juices or glands that secrete digestive juices. So the food gets in the mouth to be broken down. Chop, 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 chop. Mixed with some olive oil and salt, whatever it is. You bring it down into a bolus, into the stomach. The stomach would add more juices to there, and acid is going to get mixed again and turned together. Is going to enter the small intestine, and now that's where the small intestine is long, super long, and it will absorb technically all the nutrients that you need. Okay, now there's bile and pancreatic fluids that further help break down fats that we eat and proteins. Okay, so every process, there's more breaking down and more absorption, just on a different level. Now, what do you need to know about the small intestine? Is the villi, right? The villi, you saw those little things that were sticking out like tentacles throughout the whole intestine. Now, if the intestine were flat, then it's just gonna walk through the walls of the intestines, and that's it. And what we notice is that the intestines and the large intestine, they require time to be able to absorb, whether it's the nutrients in the small intestine or the fluid and the electrolytes in the large intestine, which is the colon. So the villi, they contain also blood capillaries and lacteals, which is the lymphatic vessels, and does the same thing. So they absorb and carry nutrients to the liver, so that's their job. And also the lymphatic vessels, they also absorb the nutrients as well. Cool. Now let's go to the large intestine. I think I said most of what there is. So the large intestine has all these kind of sections to it. So the ileocecal valve, that's where small intestine, large intestine meet. Okay? The cecum is that region as well, of the beginning of the large intestine. Ascending colon, the colon that goes up the right side. Transverse is the one right to left. Descend left, going up, down to the sigmoid colon, which is the last part of the colon. It's like a pouch before the rectum, which extends a few inches down to the last sphincter, which is the anal canal. It's another sphincter, okay? Cool. So what did we say? So we said pretty much ascending, descending, transverse, sigmoid. Okay, beautiful. So that's pretty much what we need to know about those. Now let's talk about the function a little bit of the colon. So the colon, it's not all like from the beginning to end its way. As it goes, begins its journey from ending from the small intestine to the cecum, starting the large intestine. Its job is to aid in regulating the water balance and absorption of mainly the water and the electrolytes or an undigested material. Okay. It also helps in synthesis of vitamin B vitamins and vitamin K. And as you saw in the video, that there's bacteria that can actually be can develop in that area, and it takes about 30 hours for the colon by itself to empty out. So my advice for you is to try a 36-hour fast where it's only fluid that you eat, like juices, smoothies, something that's not like something soft, not solid, liquid in its form. And try that for 36 hours and see how your life will change. Energy will go up. Yeah, you tried that, Jenna? It's amazing. That's one
All
of
the
the
time.
I really recommend. I also have a detox if you guys want it. That really, really helps. And it'll bring back your focus, will bring back your energy, will bring back your
Super, super.
skin.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how was it for you? You do that often?
For me,
Yeah?
all the time.
All the time, yeah. At
All the
least once a year, you gotta do like a fast once a year. It's a must where you can cleanse your body.
time.
Yeah.
One of my friends, she just drink water. She can drink just a water for a couple, 3 days. She feels awesome.
That's
I,
pretty
I
intense.
can,
That
I
works
can do this. I
amazing.
can.
Yes.
I do smoothies every day, every morning.
Cool. Excellent. I highly recommend. Okay. So it's good to watch what we eat. What else I can add to this? So you can write this down if you want, or you can listen to it. So we have glands and we have juices in the body and we have enzymes. So these are three things that help the body to break down food, use it, and absorb it. So in the mouth, we have three glands that do 3 to 4 glands that help with so like saliva, right? And it begins the digestion of starch and sugar. So starch and sugar starts first in the mouth. That's the beginning of everything that we start breaking down. Then next stop will be your stomach, and your stomach has gastric juices. It's called pepsin, which break down protein and amino acids. Good? Okay. Now, third one, we have the pancreas and the pancreas juices. And now they will be dumped into the small intestine, and there's 3 enzymes there. Okay, you have myelase, trypsin or something like that, and lipase. So what are their job? These enzymes to break down starches, not carbohydrate. Carbohydrate has been broken into starches into a simpler form. Okay, so you have starches, protein, and fat. that all gets taken care of in the small intestine. Now, you also have juices that the small intestine also release. And these are enzymes lactase, maltase, and sucrase. Okay, we don't have to go in depth with them, just so you know them. And they break down carbohydrates to its simplest form of sugar. And the last stop here, we got the liver, where it secretes bile into the small intestine and breaks down, it helps in breaking down fat to fatty acids. You know, fatty acids come in the manufacturing of your vitamins and as well your hormones and all these things. That's why it's really good to eat a balanced diet, because for everything we eat, it has a benefit. Proteins to build the body, carbohydrates, good carbohydrates for energy, and fats help in, you know, in brain health and endocrine health, okay, and all that stuff. And that's it for this lesson. Let me stop the recording and then we can